Welcome back to our weekly Facebook live show, Life Buildup, where we discuss your success, fulfillment, and balance. Here, your host Jawad, here with Hassan again.
What's up, guys?
Good to be back, guys. This week we're talking about why we have burnouts and how to avoid them and what to do about it.
Yeah.
So this episode, especially if you're an overachiever and a hard worker, burnouts tend to happen, and they throw us off our game. So we're going to talk about how do we actually how do we understand why it happens and what to do about it. So exciting episode.
It's a lot of words. How to understand why it happens. So look, we're talking about burnouts, all right? And I'm sure you have heard this term before, and maybe you have experienced it yourself. Maybe you Googled it. This is one of those things that is Googled often. What do I do at burnout? So burnout, first of all, you have to know what a burnout is, right? So burnout is when, whether it be in your career, whether it be in your relationship, whether it be in a volunteer work that you're involved with, what happens to you is that you start to lose the initial passion that you had for it. You start to lose the zeal that you had for it. Jawad, I think we didn't turn on the recording for our audio, so I think Jawad will do that. While he's doing that, burnout is when you start to deal with this. And I know teachers that have burnouts, right? They tell me they used to love their job, and now they just don't find that passion anymore. They complain about whatever their principal, administration, and you come to find out they're just burned out, right? Or this happens classically in a volunteer organization, right? So people are working hard, especially if you're working for an election or like a community activism or something, and you're working so hard, putting in hours and days, and then this great volunteer, this person in your organization that was just amazing and putting in all the hard work, all of a sudden this person is just quits, and you're like, what happened? Or even at work, someone, the top employee, high performance, high achieving, and all of a sudden just drops. And this even happens with, say in school, right? A student, been working really hard, achieving their, almost they're getting 4.0, 3.9, and all of a sudden they just stop, right? All of a sudden they, something happens to them where they, they all of a sudden they either they drop classes or they're not doing well. And one of the reasons for all this that I described, from work to volunteer to school, one of them is burning out. Burning out is you just had too much of it, or now you grew a bad taste in your mouth for that work, right? So even though you passionate,
what's the difference between burning out and just not being motivated to do it?
That's a good question. So I want to point out two things. I'll add on to you. What's the difference between burning out and just being tired? Right? Okay. So being tired would mean that this week was chaotic at work, but then when you took a weekend off, next day Monday come back and you're good. So that's just purely energy issue.
Right.
Okay. But burnout is when month after month you just lost all passion. But here's the thing though. See, usually how you differentiate between you're not passionate about it versus you're not, versus you are, is that if I told you, okay, what is it that's happening to you? You were so passionate about this. What changed? And you cannot give me a good answer as to what changed. That's a good indication that it's a big possibility it's a burnout. Right? Now you could say, people with motivation, you're so inspired by it, you're so motivated by it. You did so much work for it. It just can't possibly all of a sudden within a span of a few weeks.
So what does it actually happen?
That's a good question. So it happens because you become emotionally fatigued. That's the best way I can word this. Emotional fatigue. Burnout is emotional fatigue.
And what is emotional fatigue in your definition?
So it's like you get tired. Emotionally tired.
Is this a term made by Muhammad Hassan, or is this actually legit term?
I actually don't know. I just came with it just now. So, it's what happens to you. Physically in your body, right? So you're working out, and you tire out your muscle, right?
Right.
After a while, you can't work out anymore, right? Your muscle become fatigued, or you're working and you're running, and you must have become fatigued, right? He's going through the Facebook to make sure that
yeah, I'm just sharing the show a little bit.
He's still doing it. We usually get it done within first few 30 seconds, but we had a little technical difficulties right now. But you're okay. So that's what the emotional fatigue is that there are certain things that cause that fatigue. Right. And certain bad taste in your mouth, the pressure that you're feeling, negative experiences, bad team, personal crisis going on in your life, all that leads you to emotional fatigue. And that's a burnout.
Okay. So I think the bigger question is really like what to do about it and how do you avoid it.
That's very important. So burnout, first of all, you need to be able to ask yourself, what happened. Mm-hmm. That's the first question you have to ask yourself. What happened?
To be aware of it.
Yeah. So I mean, I give the example at the beginning about teacher because I think that's a classic example, right? So it's someone who was passionate about teaching, mm-hmm. right? And studied and really loved kids, and then you talk with them 5 years later, they're like, I'm done. Like they're dragging their feet to work.
Right.
What happened? Right. Or a volunteer, right? As I was giving an example, so passionate about the community, and they're like sleeping 2-3 hours, going to their work and volunteering, and all of a sudden, like they just drop out of everything.
Yeah.
You ask yourself, what happened, right? So when you ask yourself that question, what happened, it's because of a few things. It's really burnout. At the end of the day, in simple terms, is from unbalance, mm-hmm. from the lack of balance. That's where you get burnout from. Burnout is purely from lack of balance, and the most extreme type of burnout I could give you, from like a psychological perspective, right? One of the psychological illnesses, right? Like mm-hmm. bipolar.
Yeah.
That's like burnout. Like when you experience people, maybe someone in your life, or maybe someone here is struggling with this condition. Folks with bipolar, what happens to them? They get, for a few days, they become manic, right? Especially people get manic.
They're very, very excited.
Oh, not excited.
Very hyped to do everything.
They don't sleep. They can conquer the world. They, they're like just, and then they crash.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm giving you extreme medical condition, but now take that at a more personal level, at a work level. That's what kind of happens.
Yeah.
You're going at this pace where you're like, yeah, and I'm just, it's like maybe some of you have ever organized an event before, and a public event especially, and there's a lot of people, and you organized it, you feel it, right? It's so many people, the energy, and then the crash comes. Or even you experience this with sugar, right? You ate a whole bunch of sugary food, desserts, and you feel so energetic, then you crash, right? Or in finals time, you took that 5-hour energy drink, and then
after 5 hours you
came crashing. So that's what's happening to you at a long-term level, right? Within a span of 3-4 months, that's what it looks like. What's happening to you? So what to do about it, right? Number one is you have to recognize it, right? It's very, very important. A lot of people don't recognize they're going through a burnout. They think that is their boss that's the problem. They think that something changed about the organization that I was volunteering in. They think that I don't know, my health. They think I just need to fix something.
So you got to diagnose it correctly.
Yes. I think a lot of people forget that they're just having burnout.
Yeah.
They'll give you a long complaint about their work, or long complaint about their whatever going on at school, and then what they don't tell you is that they're actually going through a burnout. Mm-hmm. And you're like, dude, I think you're going through a burnout. And they're like, wow, I never thought about it like that. I'm like, you're just emotional fatigue.
And I think when people say that, okay,
right.
if like a friend of yours or family member says that
right.
to you, people have trouble admitting it to themselves.
That's true.
Do you think so?
Yeah, that's true. Because people don't know.
Because people don't want to say that, yo, I'm having a burnout.
Right.
They want to say that, and I think that's part of the reason that they blame it on somebody else.
People, what's happening, results, right?
Yeah. Versus just saying that, okay, it's just me. Okay, I need to take a break.
Right.
Yeah.
And so being able to recognize burnout is so important.
Yeah.
Right. So things to keep in mind. I'll give you so pointers to keep in mind. How do you recognize burnout? So things like you're losing interest at the thing that you loved for so many years. You are growing resentment towards it. You're finding yourself that you're hesitating, like you're showing up to that project late or delaying, procrastinating. You are you feel drained every time you do anything about it for an hour. You have this bitter taste in your mouth, about this project, about this work, about this study, right? Someone who's been studying, pre-med for year after year trying to get to medical school, they get a burnout.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that they lost the passion, it's that they didn't have balance, or that you work too hard, or you, meaning over the top, meaning it was not balanced. Right. So being able to recognize, the signs and burnout is number one, awareness, right? And then number two, once you have that, then looking at balance, right? Balance means you can't, if you were like pushing yourself to the point where it's not normal, right? And because you're really passionate about this, people do this, right? They're passionate about something and they really force themselves, push themselves, and that's good. Sometimes you need to go crazy. Between achieving the impossible and between insanity is a very fine line, right? So which is okay, there are singers who are in the studio for 3 days straight without sleeping, without whatever. And before the game, some people are practicing endlessly, night and day. You got to be relentless, right? But there's between relentless and there's being dangerous. Dangerous is when you're doing that day after day. You're going to experience a burnout. Your body's not going to be able to handle it, right? So I tell people. So
do you think for every single individual, it's kind of is different for each individual?
Absolutely, you hit on the nail. Not everybody has the same threshold point, right? Even the example of someone who really didn't sleep for 3 days did it, but they took break after that, right?
Yeah.
And so by the way, if you're joining the show, do share. And so that more people can get in, and we're really happy to be part of your life, every Monday night. So we're talking about burnout, and so about that balance, right? So the same way I said, the example I give even when we're talking about balance in our previous show, and I said that you can't achieve success by skipping out bathroom and food. You say, what? I'm so busy. I get the example, right? On the last show or pre-show before, and I'm so busy. What? I'm so busy, so I stopped going to the bathroom, right? Or I stopped eating because I'm very busy. No one would do that because you can't. Your body is going to force you to go to the bathroom. It's going to force you to eat. Same way, I'm telling you that if you find yourself, whether you're pursuing a business project or you're pursuing a volunteer work in the community, or you're involved in your study that you're trying to get into a professional school and you've been doing pre-law, pre-dental a year, month after month, year after year, and you're sort of struggling, then you might have to realize, you can't be unhuman about it. You have to be human about it. So
these are requirements,
yeah.
Your body has that mandatory.
Right.
You have to take a break.
Right.
Just like you have to go to the bathroom, you got to eat. You got to do that.
So people make their schedule, right?
But I think the thing is that going to the bathroom and eating and so forth, there's clear signs.
Body tells you, yeah.
Yeah, but for
burnout.
For burnout, okay, for everybody it's different. Sometimes it could just be that, hey, okay, you want to take a break, or you're just being lazy. Okay,
right.
Just work harder.
Right. So and sometimes even that is a sign of burnout too. If you find yourself that you are so engaged in a project, all of a sudden you are slipping into wasting time watching stuff, or you're just delaying. Almost you're dreading. That's a clear sign of burnout.
Right.
You're just dreading.
What do you think is better? Okay, to do let's say 5 days of really, really hard work, and in the break, in the weekend, taking a break, versus all 7 days having really, really good work with short breaks.
I really think there's a bit of balance in that statement. So I think there need to be a few brief periods of intense work, right? But that intense work period should be small. shouldn't be like huge, like 5 days of like crazy work, like 5 days you cut out sleep, 5 days you cut out any.
So you don't have to cut out sleep.
I'll give you an extra example.
Like right? For example, like people that are like really like I think a lot of people, what they do is that they'll go to work. Okay, in between, like they have like for lunch or just in between work, like that's when they take their breaks. Through social media,
right?
To like just like talking to somebody on the phone,
right?
Things like that. And then when it comes to the weekend, then for a lot of people, like it's the same thing. Like they're working and they're taking breaks at the same time. Or for others, like they just the entire weekend goes towards like a break.
Right. So what you don't want is this. What a lot of people are doing, they try to pack everything in the 5 days, right? So they're working with the full-time job in the 5 day. Then they try to, what? These 5 days are my productive days. So they add in, studying in that. They add in like taking care of all the tasks in that.
But that might be that person's style.
No, what I'm telling you is that what that it might work for some people, but for most people, I will tell you this is what happens. From my experience working with people in coaching or and so forth, what I found that this is what tends to happen.
Okay.
What happens with them is that then weekend becomes this like fully like vacation, right? Saturday, Sunday becomes like this thing that they look forward to, and they just like. So then, like you set yourself up in this mindset.
Is that such a bad thing, though?
No, I'm not saying it might work for you, but my caution to you is that you don't want to teach yourself brain this idea that like Friday comes and I'm out of prison.
Yeah.
Like that's not the. Then you're treating.
I mean, that's why people like dread Mondays so much.
Yes,
because
like that's exactly
they just
why.
came from vacation.
That's exactly why, and that's the problem. So I'm not. Sometimes we need vacation though. So I'm not. In a month, in a few months, to taking several days off, taking a week off for vacation with family or friends, whatever. Great, right? Can you have 3 days of you being in the studio and recording? Great, but. Don't make it this whole 5 days like crazy amount of work packing. I know people who you get them volunteer tasks, right? They're part of some kind of volunteer work, but they have some crazy work schedule. They're a physician, whatever. They're like, no, I want to get it done within Monday through Friday. Like, why would you do that? Because already you're not breathing.
Because I think a lot of people like they look forward to those like just long weekend,
right?
And doing nothing. Just chilling and having an easy.
The best way I can explain this is like this. What happens if you say, for example, sleeping 6 hours to 8 hours every night versus doing 2-3 hours for 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, and then spending sleeping the next few days like over the top extra, or doing an all-nighter. A study shows if you do an all-nighter, right, to recover it takes a week or something to recover.
Right.
If you do an all-nighter, it takes few days
because
to recover.
you lose the momentum.
Right. So what I'm telling you,
got to build the momentum up again.
You end up actually spending more time recovering.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that if you did that, 5 days of work and then I'm gonna do 2 days, the whole 2 days becomes super unproductive. So
from the macro level,
yes.
Okay, when you're looking from the bird's eye point of view, like over a month, okay, then you're actually less efficient.
Less efficient. So you're better off. Taking those lunch breaks.
So tell me that. Okay, what is the from like the people that you have worked with,
right?
And like even if there's some science behind it,
right?
What is the most effective approach to take?
So what you want to do is you want to make sure you give yourself the breaks. So for example, small things that will really help you not get burned out.
Right.
Okay. Number 1, 15 minutes early before work. Go to work 15 minutes early, or start your day 15 minutes early. What does that mean? Most people are rushing to work, right? Most people are. Most of us, and I'm guilty of this too, right? Because we don't just have just perfect time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get to my office actually 15 minutes early, and I can't tell you how beautiful that is. 15 minutes of like, I don't have to be here in 15 minutes. Like I don't have patience in the next 15 minutes. Wow. Like I could just sit, breathe. Like the day just feels better, right? If I slept that night 6 hours to 8 hours, I enjoy my work that much more. Like imagine, I was trying to get, because I have to work on my business too, so I'm up late, work on the business, whatever, and then I go to work having only slept whatever, right? What's gonna happen? Next day I have a lot of patience. I'm not gonna enjoy the interaction, especially for me. Yeah, I know, It's just the whole thing is a drag.
Right.
Right, and we talked about this in the sleep section, I think. right?
Yeah. We did.
So that's the balance. Same way, you know, you want to be able to, you know, go on lunch breaks. You want to be able to call up a friend, you know. And if you're watching this show, do share, give us likes and thumbs up, and share the show if you benefit anything from what we're sharing. And if you went through a burnout, let us know.
Put in the comments. Okay,
put the
I haven't
comments
checked
below.
the comments yet, but I'm gonna see, like, you know, if you guys share something. Okay, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely, and just click like and click the share, and so that, you know, we
appreciate that very much.
We can get to more people, and really we're really you know, glad that we can be part of your life, you know, every Monday night. So we're talking about burnout. So far we talked about you know, knowing when you're having burnout. Number 2, you know, knowing the signs and so forth. And number 3, and we talk about balance. That the burnout is essentially emotional fatigue, right? And so you want to be able to achieve success in your life being human. Look, that's my point to you. You want to achieve success being human. You can't achieve success being a robot.
Yeah.
And you try to do that, you will not be able to. You're going to end up burning out.
Yeah, I think it's so important to, like, you know your own limits.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, you know, it might seem like a really, really great idea to, you know, put in that, you know, 4 or 5 more hours at nighttime instead of going to sleep and getting your work done.
Right.
But, you know, that's good in the micro.
Like,
you know, on a
micro.
1 day level.
But look at it from a year perspective.
Exactly. Like from a week perspective, month perspective, year perspective.
Right.
You're being very inefficient.
Right. Exactly. And so, you know, you get an idea, get an inspiration, or, you know, you're really motivated about something.
And like any goal that you have,
right.
Anything, like, you know, anything that you want to do with your life,
right.
you know, it takes time.
Takes time, yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen overnight.
The game is the long term.
Yeah,
that's the game. You know, the long term is the game.
Yeah.
In a short term spurts, and then, you know, you get some stuff going, but there's the consistency. Yeah. Real winners are people who are consistent. Those are real winners. You know,
right.
Yes,
and in order to do that, you gotta avoid burnouts.
And so you gotta force yourself to take vacation, force yourself, you know, to enjoy it. And so you might be right. Today you're feeling so productive.
I think, like, you know, one thing that you always talk about is, you know, you make your chillings productive. You know, when you're hanging out and taking a break, okay, you make those productive.
That's true.
I think that's also part of it, like, you know, in the sense that, you know, just having a 15-minute Facebook newsfeed scrolling session or Instagram scrolling session versus, like, you know, actually spending quality time with friends, you know, having a decent, like, really, really good conversation, that's going to, you know, be much more productive.
It will rejuvenate
you. Yeah, versus, like, you know, just scrolling through Facebook and you know, you talk about that. That's almost like doing 15 minutes of work.
Yeah,
like your brain looks at it like that.
Right.
You know, so
you have to figure out, like, what relaxes you. You have to figure out what, you know, get you, you know, to feel more emotionally, you know, juiced. Right.
Yeah.
You know, you have to figure those things out. But the point being is that what's important here is that, you know, you have to prioritize being able to put in those breaks, and you got to put a break on yourself, right? You get so excited about an idea, and you're like pushing through. You're like, it's like a balance, you know, the wheel. We talked about this, the life wheel. So you're so passionate about something, say whether it be volunteer work, and you're involved in activism. Now, for example, political activism is very popular, right? People are like political active, whether it be on social media, whether it be on the ground, and you're so excited because whatever going on politically at the moment. And you are skipping out on school classes because, you know, you're skipping classes. You're skipping out on taking care of your body, skipping out on family time. And guess what? They catch up to you, and that's when you get a burnout.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know what the wheel that he talked about is, basically, you know, looking at your life in different areas. Like, imagine it's like, you know, in a wheel, and you guys have, like, 4 or 5 different areas of your life, and one area you're doing, like, extremely well.
Right.
Okay. It's hard to explain it, like, without actually having the physical demonstration.
True. It's like a wheel, like look. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do some fancy stuff real quick.
What fancy stuff you have here? You can draw it.
Let's see if I can do it.
Oh wow. Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm drawing on myself.
Right.
But imagine you have a wheel like this.
Right.
Okay. And let's just say that this red area over here is your physical health. Okay. This pink area over here, let's say the pink area over here is your finances, okay? And then
Can you guys see this actually?
yeah, I'm pretty sure they can.
Folks, if you see it, just
Yeah, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm just drawing in the screen.
So right
I look
now,
very silly.
by the way, folks who are listening to us on
iTunes.
so
Okay,
forth.
so you got to watch the video for this.
What's happening is Jawad is drawing a pie chart on the screen, and he's trying to make a point about different areas of your life. So the pie chart represents, one pie represents your physical health, another part represents your spirituality, another part represents your family, another part represents your academics, finance. And what's happening is that some areas you have a 10, some areas you have a 2, some area, meaning say in your physical health you're doing 10 out of 10. In your family life you're doing 2 out of 10. In your finances you're doing 7 out of 10.
So just to refer back to the circle over here, right? So let's say let's say the red is your physical body. Okay. Asma, let us know that she can see. All right. So let's say the red is the physical body.
Right.
Okay. The pink is your finances. The blue is you're hanging out and how you're taking breaks and things like that. Or you're relaxing, your emotional state and all of that. And then the green is, let's say, your family. Imagine this is a wheel. I know this is a very poorly drawn wheel, but imagine this is a wheel. How well would this run on the road?
Yeah, look.
You're gonna have so many bumps.
I'll tell you. Well, you can really see the bump once you connect it. Look. So once you connect this, that's your wheel. Look at your wheel. It's not even round.
So the yellow one is your wheel. Right
That's
there.
your wheel. You're gonna have bumpy ride. That's what's happening. A lot of you have bumpy ride in life.
Yeah.
Because
what you gotta do. Okay, a good thing that you guys can do about this is ask yourself 1 through 10 where you are in each wheel. Each area of the wheel. And draw out your wheel and see what kind of life you're living. That gives you really, really good representation.
And so reason why you get a burnout is that, say, in your career you are putting in all you got in your career, right? And you're putting all you got in your career and you're skipping out on everything else, and then what happened? Life catches up on you, and then you get a burnout. Then you're like, oh man, my work is too much and I can't do this anymore. I can't keep on going. Because exactly why? Because you were skipping out on essential things.
Balance is power, guys.
Yeah, balance is power.
Balance is
in a long-term game. Balance wins.
Yeah.
But let me
and look, I think one thing as well, we have to remember that the goal in life, is to be happy.
Right.
Okay. It's not.
To enjoy the process.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's to enjoy the process. It's not for one area of your life to be at the highest level.
Right.
And then you're doing really, really good in your career and your job and finances, but then your family life sucks.
Right.
Your spirituality sucks. Your physical body sucks.
Yeah.
So that is not the goal. The goal is to be balanced in each area.
Right.
So.
And it's a good question. I think is it actually possible to make a round one for real? Wouldn't it be more or less one-sided or other? You're right. So nobody's saying it's 100%.
Yeah.
Right. We are work in progress. Work in progress. But
work on your wheel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that we're not lopsided. That we are giving time, because it's going to catch up. Life catches up on you, and it's going to affect other part of your life. So, simple way to put this. Which area of my life right now that's very important I'm ignoring? What is the area in my life right now that is super important, but I'm just ignoring because I'm just going nuts about this one particular thing? And guess what? That's going to cause burnout, right? So
you got to take care of it. Before
so
you got to take care of it before the emergency happens.
Exactly. So balance. Next, once you have the balance, it's also about putting in enough. Taking care of your needs. So you have different needs, right? So make sure that if you don't want to have burnout, you need to make sure they're including your needs. What are the needs? Needs your physical body needs, your food, even simple things. People are so getting worked up about the work they're doing, right? So even volunteering, right, or community work. People are so one day they're really engaged in doing something, taking care of the meeting after meeting. They're forgetting to eat lunch.
Right.
At work, people working so crazy that they forget to eat lunch. Teachers, I know teachers who are have first year teachers grading and stay up at night making lesson plan. They get burned out after 2 years because you can't continue that for too long.
Right.
Right. We're gonna do amazing.
You gotta know your limits.
If you're gonna skip out on lunch, on a daily basis. Look, just skipping out on 1 day, 2 day, first week of job, understandable.
I think nobody watching skips out on lunch. Lunch is usually
some people don't know. This is very, very typical in workplaces where people are really high pressured and so they're just eating lunch really quickly, or just a lot going on.
Right.
or even spirituality, right? So you're doing, it's sometimes it is hard, right? I know friends who are doing residency, and it's tough sometimes,
Right.
because they have spirituality needs, and it's hard to they want to do prayer and things like that, and it's hard, right? But life catches up on you when you start to feel like I'm letting myself down, I'm skipping out on a lot of my spiritual needs, and people start to complain about that, right? And so you got to make sure that you got to find a way to be human about this, that you can't achieve without being human.
Yeah, I think like like in every area of your life, there
Right.
are some things that are absolutely mandatory,
Right.
And those are your needs,
Right.
And you have to take care of those.
Right. And so what you want to do is you want to, and this is, I'm glad you asked this question. How to remind ourselves? It's about that you have to have the weekly, your schedules. So in your weekly schedule, in your monthly schedule, it has to reflect that, no matter what happens, the 1 hour at work, I'm going to take lunch, and I'm going to just make some phone calls to friends. No matter what happens,
So I think look, it's reflecting,
Yeah.
right? Reflecting back on the week and things like
Yeah.
that, and also doing the assessment that we just did, like with the wheel.
Yeah.
Do the wheel, and then ask yourself, like 1 through 10, where would you be?
Right.
In that area of your life.
But you have to actually pre-plan your relaxation and your breaks and your self-care activities.
Yeah.
Like if the people say upcoming week, no matter what happens.
No, it's not. I don't think it's just that. Like everything that you have to pre-plan in order to make sure
for
that.
sure. But I'm saying, since we're talking about burning out here, you have to actually pre-plan.
That from this time to this time.
Yeah, for sure. So you're a volunteer, and on the weekend, you're part of a community, and you're doing meetings, this and that. You guys say, no, next weekend, Saturday, no matter what happens, I can't attend the meeting. I have to spend some time with the family.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to put those.
Or you play video games. Okay,
Right,
you like playing video games.
Whatever, right?
Whatever works for you. Whatever
Right.
break works for you.
Right.
I think that's another thing that people spend their breaks doing things they don't actually enjoy.
That's true. That's true.
So you got to find things like that you actually enjoy, and that rejuvenates you.
Sometimes people are so burned out that they just like sitting frozen.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. We're just frozen. They don't know what to do. And so you have to be able to include things to take care of yourself, right? So from your sleep to your food to spending time with friends and family to hobbies that you enjoy. People just skip out on hobbies, things that I'm telling you, for you to be productive, you have to include your hobbies into your weekly schedule. You're like, no, I don't got time for that. I got kids. Oh, I have work. I have business. I don't have time for hobbies. Come on, that's for like people who are free. No, that's for you.
Yeah.
If you want to be more productive, that's for you. You have to find time to put that in. You have to say, you know what?
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
Otherwise, if you don't do it, again,
Right.
the micro versus the macro, right? So, this week, you're going to be super productive.
Yeah, for
Next
sure.
week, you're going to be super productive.
Right.
Week after that, the entire week, okay, you're gonna be like unproductive.
Right.
So how does that look like, on a monthly basis?
Right.
On that, those 2 weeks that you're working super hard,
Right.
It look really, really great.
Right.
But
and people keep chasing that.
yeah.
People keep chasing it because they're like, wow, like what? I remember those two weeks I was so productive. Woo, wow, and they keep chasing that because they're like, oh, I was productive last time. I just need to recreate that.
Yeah.
But what you're trying to recreate is unrealistic. Because those 2 weeks that you were crazy productive, you are not being human. And you were able to do that because you did it for 2 weeks. You're not able to do that for the long game.
Right.
That's what the problem is. You're going to have to take breaks. You're going to have to add in time to friends and family. You're going to have to add in time to do your hobby. You're going to have to. This is more amazing. I remember when I think I gave this example in one other show here. Back in the days when they used to give that test booklets, remember? So they used to say, all right, you can now open the test booklet and start the exam. And you open the booklet and go, and you start doing the exam, right? When I was studying for one of these exams, I remember one of the test takers had these, not test taker company, okay? One of these test taking companies, they had this suggestion that when you get the booklet and they say go, they say don't go. Take 5 seconds to collect yourself. Because most people, when the teacher goes, okay, you can now start the exam, boom. People start flipping through questions in a frantic manner. Okay, what's inside? Oh my God. And then they actually pause, and then they come back and start from the beginning. Right? And that was the first advice they gave, which is brilliant. And the second advice was even more important, what we're talking about here today. They said after this particular exam had 5 passages, right? So you have to do one passage, bunch of question, one passage, bunch of question. The test taking tips was that you do one passage and you force yourself to close your eyes for 5 minutes. Sorry, like 10 seconds. And people are like, why would you do that? It's a timed exam. I don't have time for this garbage of taking 10-second break. Every second counts. Literally, you have like 10 seconds for each question. I don't have time to waste 10 seconds. They said, no, if you don't take that, your brain is going to find a way to take it. And it's going to happen at a random time. So in the middle of the passage, you're reading it, and it's going to say something about like Washington, whatever, and you'll be like, Washington, Washington, I've been there, yeah. And, oh man, I'm in the exam. For 10 seconds, you went somewhere else.
So you either plan it,
yeah,
or your brain is gonna do it for you.
Yeah. So you know what? Those 2 weeks, you're so productive. Or for that first year of being a teacher, whatever, you just like going crazy and you're like skipping at everything, and it's gonna happen. Your brain's gonna find a way to do that burnout. Burnout is your brain desperate call for fuel. And so if you're not gonna pre-plan it, that's what's gonna happen. If you're watching 100%. The show, we request you to share the show.
Yeah, guys, please
benefit anything from it. I think if there's any question, feel free to let us know. But again, balance and scheduling in your breaks and relaxation and different areas of your life. You have to include it. And so your work would be so much more better if you took that break. You just enjoy everything much more.
Right.
You just, even tests, right? Why? Because you know how much tough it is when you try to do a paper, and this watching your college students, or you're still doing your grad school and so forth. You delay the paper till the last. What happens? You're up for 2 days trying to do a paper. It's a painful experience.
Yeah.
Versus if you balance it out, if you did it, you did the research part of it, month ahead. You know how much better it feels. How much more enjoyment you have.
I think we can do an entire episode on that, actually.
Oh yeah, we should.
Like,
right?
Just
maybe during the finals time. No, maybe that were too late. Maybe one month before the finals for the folks who are college students here.
And I'm taking a class this semester too, so it'll be good for me.
Okay, that's good.
So 100%. Yeah. Guys, so I think we went on for long enough.
We went for long.
We're gonna end up the show. Okay, we're not gonna go any longer. But if you benefited from this episode in any way, I would really, really appreciate it if you could please hit that share button, hit the like button. It really, really helps us out. So thank you so much for doing that. Any final thoughts?
No, go out there and enjoy.
Yeah, and don't have burnouts.
Enjoy life.
Good night.
Good night.